This is the Paracave Podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Parramatta Leagues Club, home of the Eels, and also home of Jack's Pale Ale.
Welcome to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Paracave.
And yes, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. Troy Warner here, and it is the game review, the Eels game review, and it was round number 10. The Eels took, stumbling my words, the Eels took on the Dolphins at Commbank Stadium on Thursday night, way back on Thursday night, and the Dolphins got the victory, 20 points to 16 over the Eels, unfortunately at home in front of 11,214 fans. Tell you what, it didn't look like that many fans, to be honest. It was quite a empty stadium, I thought, but it was Thursday night. It was a 8 p.m. game. It was a Dolphins team, so not one of the highly fancied teams, I guess, not a Sydney team. But still, I guess to get 11,214 is a pretty good effort there. It was 3 tries all. Conversions let Parramatta down. Sean Russell only 1 out of 3. He did kick that great penalty goal on half-time. It was about 48 metres out, which levelled the game up at 6-all at half-time. So maybe that is a little bit of a concern. Look, to be honest, I think it may be the foot injury that Mitchell Moses had at the start of the year. Potentially that is why he is not goal kicking. But I think maybe in these crucial games, I think he will probably have to step it up and start the kicking. Look, with potentially, and it's not official yet, but it is more than likely that Zach Lomax will be back for the Eels this week against Newcastle. So I think he will be he will definitely be the goal kicker for the Eels as well. So depending on how he is as well goal kicking, I guess. But they certainly need to improve a little bit in that area. Look, not saying that the goal kicking lost us the game, but I think it would have been better to have Mitch kick the goals. But obviously that foot is not 100%, so that is potentially why he's not goal kicking. And plus, I guess, why risk it as well? I guess only in close games and big kicks maybe. But look, that wasn't the reason that Parramatta lost the game. It was pretty much the Isaiah Katoa and Herbie Farnworth show. Now, one thing about Herbie Farnworth that really got me annoyed, and look, I guess he's just playing to the rules, I guess. The tackle in the second half where he went down and he claimed, or sort of held his neck, held his shoulder, held his neck in pain down on the ground, and gave the bunker a chance to review it, and then Jermaine Hopgood was put on report for, I think it was a crusher tackle. So and then pretty much as soon as the penalty was awarded, Jermaine Sarko stepped up, kicked the penalty goal. Herbie Farnworth jumped up and was fine. And look, I don't know whether he's just playing for it. Well, he definitely was playing for the penalty, and it's really upsetting that if you're in so much pain, mate, go off the field, I think. Anyway, look, I don't play first grade rugby league, so I don't know how it would have felt, but just really annoying for that playing for the penalty and and he was lying down for the penalty. But look, the crowd certainly let him know about it as well. But look, that's in the past now. As I said, it was the Herbie Farnworth Isaiah Katoa show. And Herbie scored a great individual try, which was disappointing. Got through Mitchell Moses and Riley Smith, and then basically stood up Isaiah Iongi at the fullback position there for the Eels and basically ran around him and put a couple of little steps on him and went around him and scored that try. But look, I guess for Parramatta, I thought when they got back to 6-all, it was a pretty good opportunity to go on with it at half-time. And it certainly was, because they got the try right after half-time. Matt Dury, it was a great ball from Dylan Walker, who I thought had a pretty good game as well, and is a pretty handy ball player to have in your side. I thought that he certainly did make a difference as well. Just takes that little bit of pressure off Mitch and Dylan Brown. But it was a great ball to Dury, who just basically burst through the line and scored. So great try there. And then when they got to 12-6, I thought potentially they could go on with it a little bit more. But then there was that Herbie Farnworth try, and there was that other try to the Dolphins front rower, I think it was. And personally, I thought he might have grounded the ball a bit short, to be honest, but I guess that might just be the blue and gold eyes that I've got on seeing that. But that's what it did look like on the replay. But nevertheless, the try was awarded, and that's when the Dolphins got back to, I think it was 12-all, and then that's when the Herbie Farnworth try was scored as well, and they took the lead there, and then they got the penalty goal. Parramatta, they sort of came back in the end a little bit. They had some opportunities. Their first try, actually, in the first half from Bailey Simonson was a really cracker of a try. Some great ball playing there from Mitchell Moses, and then Isaiah Iongi, and then Bailey Simonson jumping in the corner to get the try. Unfortunately for Bailey, he is injured. He's injured himself in this game, and it hasn't come out yet as to how long he will be out for, but it does seem to be about a 6 to 10 week injury, unfortunately, I think, for Bailey Simonson, which is a real blow, because he was one of Parramatta's best players since coming back from his knee injury from last season. He came back, I think, in the Darwin game up there against Canberra, and he was one of the players of the game in that match, and he's certainly been one of the best players for Parramatta in losing sides over those last few weeks. And look, I think he will be missed, but obviously now with the emergence of Jordan Sanrani, he will potentially take his spot. As I said before, Zach Lomax is potentially likely to come back this weekend against Newcastle, so that will make an interesting play for Jason Riles. Does he put Zach Lomax on the wing just to replace Bailey, or just a straight swap there, leave Sean Russell in the centres? I think yes. I think that will be the position that Zach will play, obviously in New South Wales colours, so why not put him on the wing? I think he should have been on the wing in the first place for Parramatta when he came over here, but especially after the year that he had last year for the Dragons, his career best ever season. So I think probably what will happen this week is that Zach will get named on the wing, leave Sean Russell where he is in the centres. I think that will probably be the smart option, but hey, I'm not a coach, but that's what I would do if I was the coach. But just a straight swap for Bailey. But then it's going to be interesting moving forward when Zach is, potentially going to be playing for New South Wales, who replaces Zach Lomax. You've got a few options there. You've got Richard Penasini, you have Jake Tungo as well. I think Hayes Dunster is injured at the moment. I think he would have been a great replacement. It's been a while since Hayes has played first grade, but there's a couple of options there. Do you, and obviously Jordan Samrani as well. He's another option as well. Look, you can put Sean Russell on the wing, but I think probably centre will be his position. So leave him there, just get him settled there, and one of those three or four players can play that wing position when Zach Lomax is representing New South Wales, and whilst Bailey is out. Another solid game, I thought, from Isaiah Iongi. He's only getting better with more experience. Josh Adokar, he was outstanding, I thought, for a beaten side. 239 metres, 3 line breaks as well. He's really finding, I think, his feet in this Parramatta side at the moment. He didn't score any tries this weekend, but he has been scoring tries the last few weeks, but did make some very crucial runs, especially late in that game when Parramatta were looking to come back and get the victory. Look, just talking about that, there was a couple of opportunities, I thought, late in that game for Parramatta. And look, it all happened so fast, I guess, but 4.5 minutes to go, Parramatta were behind. I thought 2 chances went missing. I thought maybe Fox could have got a try out of this one, but Dylan Brown had the ball. Fox was out wide. Brown's making the run. I thought maybe he could have put a kick through for the Fox. As we know, he's got plenty of pace, so he probably could have covered it, but then we all know about the bounce of the rugby league ball as well, so you don't know how that's going to go. So that might not have happened, but then the very next tackle, the ball goes out wide to the other side of the field, and looking at it in front, because I was sitting behind the post in the corner, and I was virtually front on, so I could see. I love to sit in those positions because you get to see what's happening side to side, and you get to see the gaps and whatever. But Sam Rani was on the wing, and personally, and maybe Sam Jordan thought the same thing as well, that Will Penasini should have passed the ball to him. Look, Sam Rani, he might have scored, but he may not have. But I guess Penasini thought that maybe he could get over the top of Herbie Farnworth, but like he probably has in the past, I think. But just the way that Herbie was playing the other night was just unbelievable. So I guess he thought that he could get over the top of him, but it wasn't to be. That could have been potentially a try gone begging late in the game as well. But look, it's all what ifs at this stage. I think there was another one where Dylan Brown, I think it was it could have been the very last play of the game, when Dylan Brown's made the break down the field. Could he have passed it inside to Josh Adokar, who had him on the inside? Maybe, maybe not. Could he have, again, put a kick in for him? You don't know the bounce of the ball either. But that could have potentially been a opportunity for a try, but the Hammer, I guess, read it so well that he made the tackle on Dylan Brown and ultimately won the game for the Dolphins. just looking at a few of the team stats, and it was in possession, it was 52% to Parramatta, 48 to the Dolphins. Completion rate was a little bit down for Parramatta compared to the Dolphins. The Dolphins completed at 89%. So that is definitely what is going to win you football games. That is for sure. Parramatta 77%. And line breaks, well, look, there was 7 to Parramatta, 5 to the Dolphins. So a few of those 3 of those from Josh Addo-Carr. There was 4 dropouts from Parramatta, 3 of those, which is a good thing. Just couldn't capitalise on that. Missed tackles, less missed tackles from Parramatta, 33 to the Dolphins, 37. Penalties conceded, 3 to Parramatta, 8 to the Dolphins. Ruck infringements, 3 to the Eels, 1 to the Dolphins. If we now go to some of the player stats, and we'll start with run meters. Very impressive from Josh Addo-Carr, 22 runs, 239 metres. Will Penasini, 15 runs, 185 metres. Isaiah Iongi, as I said, getting more experience at the back there and playing better as well, as I thought as games go on. 24 runs, 178 metres. Dylan Brown, 14 runs, 179 metres. Junior Paolo, who I thought had a good game as well. He was the leader in the forwards. 13 runs, 115 metres. And Jordan Samrani, who I've been very impressed with the last 2 weeks. He's really coming of age. Don't know whether he's going to be playing a back row position or maybe a wing or centre position as he has in the past, but it was pretty handy the other night when Will Penasini had to go off for a HIA, having Jordan on the bench, because then Jordan could just slip straight into Will Penasini's position. So it was quite handy having him there. But I really like the way that Jordan is playing. He's really having a crack, and I think he will be pushing for a permanent first grade spot. Maybe start him off the bench at the moment like he has been the last couple of games, but you never know, he may be pushing for a starting spot. That is for sure. Dylan Walker, I was also impressed with him. 10 runs, 83 metres. There has been a little bit of talk about Jermaine Hopgood as well. Is he suffering from that back injury that he suffered in Origin last year? Just not the same sort of player as we all thought he was or is. Just 7 runs, 57 metres. There has been a little bit of talk about whether he should maybe have a couple of weeks off, just if he is worried about that back, maybe get it right. Don't know, but we know what he can do. We know what his game is like. Perhaps he should just, when he is playing, I don't know what his role is in this team, but maybe he should just get the ball and just run hard, I guess. And we all know that he has got a great offload game in him as well, when it is right. But look, I think Jermaine himself, he wouldn't probably think that he is playing the best footy at the moment. And maybe that back injury is playing on his mind at the moment. So I don't know, what do you do with Jermaine Hopgood? Do you give him a couple of weeks off? There's a couple of buys coming up, or there is definitely one buy coming up in a couple of weeks' time. What do you do with Jermaine? Do you change positions? Do you change his job role in the team? I don't know, but there's something just not going right. I saw it last week when I was fortunate enough to sit behind the bench up at Magic Round, and he came off at one stage and just sort of, he did look a little bit depressed. He plonked himself in the chair on the bench there, and just, I don't know. It just doesn't look like he's enjoying his football at the moment. So potentially there could be something going on there. But I don't know what it is. But I'm sure the Parramatta coaching staff will work with that one. And just look, a happy birthday shout out to Jermaine as well for yesterday, as well. It was his birthday, so on Mother's Day, so I hope you had a good day on your birthday. Going to tackles, and look, Riley Smith, 58 tackles, unbelievable once again. Only 5 missed tackles, but 58. Is he going to burn himself out tackling so much? I mean, you can't stop players from tackling. That's just what they do, isn't it? Especially hookers and back rowers and the like. But Riley Smith, there's a point there where I think on the 5th tackle he put a kick in. Probably wasn't the right option. There was a few times in the game where Parramatta didn't put the right option in. On 5th tackle was a little bit disappointing. Thought he may have had his first NRL try, but was deemed offside, so wasn't to be, so he'll still have to wait for his first NRL try. But 58 tackles in the game. Kitoni Katoga, he had 39 tackles. He actually had a pretty good game. I think probably his best game for Parramatta so far. Threw a great flick ball, inside ball, to Isaiah Ongi, who breaks free and passed it to Dylan Brown for his try. And I thought, this game was probably his best game for Parramatta so far. So pretty impressed with him. Had a chat with him after the game as well. Nice fella, and he appreciates the support as well. So Junior Paulo, 36 tackles. So they certainly are getting through some work there as well. To the ladder, and there was no improvement for Parramatta. Unfortunately, still stuck on the bottom of the ladder. 1 point behind the Panthers, who are on 7 points. And for the Dolphins, they go up to 12th position on the ladder on 8 points. Looking to next week, and it is the Eels take on the Newcastle Knights up there at McDonald Jones Stadium at 6 p.m. Friday, 16th of May is the first game of the round. Now, last season, the Newcastle Knights got the win, 34 points to 26, so the Eels will be hoping to reverse that score line. It is a last chance for players this round to impress New South Wales State of Origin selectors, as the team will be announced on, I think it's Sunday, or there could be Monday these days. I don't know, but that's a podcast for another day. But I think last chance for players to impress. I'm assuming Laurie Daly and his selectors would have a team in mind already, but it certainly is a Origin trial, I guess, this weekend for all the players that are playing. So more on that in the game preview coming up. But overall, look, a very disappointing result. I had a lot of confidence going into that game. I thought the Eels could get the job done. It wasn't to be, unfortunately. I thought they showed signs against the Sharks up at Magic Round. And I thought being back at home, I thought they could get the job done. But look, unfortunately it wasn't to be. Very frustrating, very disappointing not to get the win at home. I thought maybe they could have penciled that in as a win, I guess, at the start of the season, and then even throughout the season, they could have. I thought they may have got the victory in this one. But look, back to the drawing board, I guess, for the Eels at training this week, and hopefully they can get the job done against the Newcastle Knights up there in Newcastle. Thank you very much for listening to this game review, Eels versus Dolphins. Let's hope it is a victory next week against the Newcastle Knights. Probably sound a little bit happier if it was, but look, very disappointing, that result. But thank you very much for listening to this game review podcast, Eels and Dolphins. See you throughout the week with plenty more content coming your way throughout the week. So stay tuned on the Instagram page and the Facebook pages as well. Thank you very much. The Para Cave podcast, by the fan, for the fans. Go Para! How you going, mate? Are you a Para Cave podcast listener?
I am, bro. It's a great podcast. Everyone tune in.
Go Para!
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Para Cave podcast. See you next time.